Christmas season is here, and I'm a little bit behind when it comes to decorating the studio for all of the sets that I need for Christmas, and why not just add this on top of that? I stumbled across this the other day on Instagram. My brain instantaneously,
oh my god, you have to have that in your studio immediately.
Because the amount of times I actually do hang, like have people hang from lights is often. And to have them be able to actually hang on something would be perfect. Okay, so here's the plan. I'm just gonna follow his tutorial that he made. I will link it below if you want like a super in-depth tutorial. Go look at his video because it's pretty perfect. So let's go ahead and get started on making these super awesome lights. So we need to prep our bottles first because they take obviously the longest time. They are kind of, in my opinion, the most labor intensive thing to do. I did this all off camera because it kind of, first off, it's a pain in the butt. And secondly, it just wasn't like, it was very messy. So I didn't want my camera involved. So what you do is you can either use a hot knife to cut a hole in the bottom and then around the top, or you can do kind of what I did, and I still have it connected so I can show you. I just use this to cut a hole in the bottom. Do it really slowly if you do this, or else your bottle's going to like fly off of the drill and go everywhere. So it cut a nice perfect hole that is the size of my lights, so no worries there. I did ruin one bottle doing that. That's how I learned you need to do this very slowly. So do that at your own risk. But I did use a hot knife to cut the top. The reason I did not use a hot knife for the bottom is I don't have a very good hot knife. It's not good enough to cut the thicker plastic. Also do this outside. It is toxic. So after you get these all cut, so tops and bottoms all cut, take them outside and give them a coat of spray paint. Set up this little paint station to paint the little black tubes that you can get from Home Depot or Lowe's. I just kind of like made a little painting station for everything, so I have some of the bottles already painted, and I'm going to flip them out now and paint the other ones. Okay, so I was trying to determine which lights that I own that I already have that would be best for this particular project. I have some LED outside lights that I have currently in here, and I had these lights where I actually don't know where they came from. They kind of showed up outside my studio door one day, but they are not bright enough to use this. So I am going to use the outside LED lights. I already went ahead and put them in there, and what I ended up doing is taking the hole that I made, because I can't reach my hand into the top part of this to connect the light and the light bottom to each other. So I ended up making like a little door on the bottom of this so that I can just slide the light in there and it is good to go. So these are, I do believe, Edison lights and that are attached to these. So they are this kind of light bulb, but again, they are LED lights, so no worries for heat or anything like that. I hope that they're going to be bright enough. I think they are. The color that I'm most worried about being not bright enough is the blue one, which whatever, we'll see how it goes. But my lighting is all determined. I'm all good to go here. So the next thing I need to do, I'm waiting for the other things to dry. I have more bottles that are drying. So the next thing I need to do is add the bottoms to the lights. And these are like the little, like if you were actually looking at Christmas lights, these are the little things that the light cup that the light goes in. I don't know the real terms. So I need to make some of those so it looks like that they are on the bottoms of these, like they have things that they would be plugged into. Now on the tutorial itself, he is using, I do believe, like a cup or like a big food container, and I don't want to go buy a food container, so I'm just going to use some strips of foam to wrap around the bottoms of my lights, kind of like that, and then I'm going to give them another lip so it will look like they are connected in something here, and then I will connect this piece to the foam itself. That is how I'm going to put all that together. So I'm going to go ahead, paint these real quick and get them all shaped up, and then start putting the rest of the lights on and gluing these to all the bottles. So let's get to it. that was a process. Everything is all put together. The only thing that I still need to do is I didn't make enough little pieces to go around 3 of the lights, like this little chunk at the top of the light. So I need to make 3 more of those and paint them and then put them on. But we have Christmas lights, and I think that this is so cool. Like, obviously they're soda bottles, but it's pretty cool, and it will read as Christmas lights. So I should mention, the only thing that I am not doing that the original tutorial will be doing is I'm not making the plug that the lights will have to look like lights. I might eventually do that, but I don't have the right tools to accomplish the outlet part of the lights itself, so I'm just not going to do that. I don't actually think I would need that for the prop anyway, but it is really cute. Like, it's adorable, and I have the trash can to do it. I just don't have the right wood cutting tools to accomplish that look, so I'm not going to do that part. But I am doing everything else. So the next part that I need to do is grab my painted tubes and get to adding the lights onto that, and then I think I'm basically done. And this is the moment that you can see I clearly started to really hate this project. Okay, so it's been more than 24 hours. It's been a couple of days. This video was supposed to come out a couple days ago. Sorry. But I really got to thinking about some things about this particular design, and things that I liked and didn't like, and some things that I just needed to be fixed before I could just let this go. The biggest thing that I needed to fix, and the thing that's been driving me crazy this whole time, because that night when I went home, I was covered in little flakes of green paint. So the biggest issue I have is the fact that this particular type of foam, which is the big tubes that you can get to make the big lights, it doesn't handle paint very well. If you start flexing it around, the paint is going to start coming off onto your skin. There might be something that I missed here, and maybe it is my fault, but I just needed to design something that if I give to a child and they hold it up at the top of their heads, they're not going to go home with just bunches of green paint flakes. Now, I know the original tutorial is for like a decoration that you're just going to put somewhere and sit it and forget it, so this has nothing to do with that. It's the fact that I just need it to be a little bit more durable than it currently is, because I actually have the bigger one hanging up in the ceiling back there, and it's totally fine. But the one that I'm going to give people to hold on to kind of needs to be a little bit more durable. So let's take a look at how I put it all together. I think it's better for my situation, and I'll walk you through it.
Okay, first step is to take all the wrappers off of the bottles and use Goo Gone to remove any residual sticky goop that stays on them. I ended up using Good and Gather water bottles because I really liked the shape of them, and they were way easier to cut than the soda bottles. Next, I used alcohol ink to color the insides of the bottle. I tried my hardest to dry them out. If you don't, you can get some really interesting patterns in the alcohol ink. Cut open your bottles after this so that it dries a little faster and actually stays on the bottle. Next, I cut long strips of EVA foam along with skinny strips of the tube that I had for the original project. I put that tube on the inside and glued it shut to give it more of a rounded look. And instead of 2 strands, I'm actually using 3 because 3 is actually what Christmas lights generally have. Yes, I totally could have glued this better, so ignore that. Next, I added my lights in and twisted all of the strands up. I went back to some bottles I hadn't cut open yet and cut the tops and bottoms off. Then I cut some strips of EVA foam to go over the bottoms of some of the lights that I hadn't wrapped yet. These are done in 2 different strips, one bigger and then one that goes around the top, just like the first set that I made. Lastly, I connected all the lights to the light strand, gave it a final paint job, and I was done.
So I definitely just love these way more. They don't flake. They're not hard to move or hold. The one thing that I do still need to do that I absolutely will be doing is I need to give them one more spray of paint. I ran out of paint. So they need one more good spray of green paint, and then it'll be solid and good to go. The other thing I might do is tape these down with some carpet tape or hot glue a little bit more to the actual wire part, because I just want them to be a little bit more solidly placed where they're supposed to be. Because right now I did use carpet tape, but they're kind of coming up. I don't think I did it very well. But I genuinely love how these came together. And like I said, I could give these to a kid. They're a lot more sturdy and stable. And I don't know, they're just really fun. So I'm happy to have these in the studio. I'm definitely going to use them as a prop for people to hold their hands on when I am trying to make them look like they are swinging on Christmas lights during composite pictures. I'm just happy. I'm just happy with this. It's a nice little project. If by chance you would rather do the way that I did it here versus the tutorial linked, I'll put some better notes down below on how I put it all together. But like I said, if you're just doing this for decoration, the other one is just fine. But I'm gonna call it a day. I've spent enough brain power in the past couple of days trying to figure out how to make this better for myself, and it is time that I call it a day and have a rest. So remember to like and subscribe if you choose to, and I will see you next video.